My next guest is a pioneer in American government, Governor Kate Brown of Oregon, who made history in 2016 as the first openly LGBT and first bisexual person to be elected governor, any governor in the United States. Governor Brown, it's great to see you. Thank you. I know you have a lot cooking in Oregon right now, and we're very honored that you took some time during Pride Month to sort of talk to us a little bit about your journey, and which I want to get into. And I know that you being outed and then elected was not necessarily the order that you might have selected to come in. But before I get into that, I'm just interested in kind of get a template right now as you look at our civil rights challenges looking forward in the state of Oregon, your citizens, the questions of inclusion. What's high in your mind right now?
Well, we're continuing to make progress here in the state of Oregon. I am extremely fortunate to have a legislature that is dominated by progressives that believe in true equality for the entire LGBTQIA community. And so we work in partnership to continue to change the laws and ensure that, at least from a legal perspective, that Oregon is a state where everyone, regardless of how they identify, can achieve their full potential.
You know, to help our audience understand, and I just find it fascinating, in the mid-1990s, the Oregonian outed you and other legislators, as I understood, in this process, and as bisexual, and you went on and you just said, fine, we're going to just continue to do the people's business, and you were elected governor of the state. I guess my question and almost my hope is this almost becoming a non-issue? Or I know it's not a non-issue, but is the issue of who we are becoming embraced enough that we don't have to worry about those kinds of outings anymore?
I think that's true in Oregon for the most part. I will say it is certainly true that my sexual orientation has been used against me and, frankly, against other candidates. A real clear example of that was several years ago, I was working hard to be the Senate president, the state Senate president. And in my role as majority leader, as the caucus leader, was working to elect Democratic candidates to the state Senate. I remember being told by one of the communities that the rumor mill was, if you elect this person as our senator, then Kate Brown, who is a lesbian bisexual, horror of horrors, will become the Senate president. Obviously don't know what a lesbian bisexual is, but so clearly it has been used not only against me, but other candidates. But I do know we had a woman, first lesbian, run as an openly gay person for the Oregon Supreme Court in 2006. I know from polling at that time that Oregonians simply just didn't care. They were concerned about her ability to do the job and her qualifications, and I think that's how it should be.
Well, one other element, I was reading an interview with you, and I apologize if I get any of this wrong, but it made me think about whether or not we have empathy problems within the LGBT community. It often doesn't get discussed, but this is an editorial program. Years ago, I interviewed Andrew Sullivan, who's provocative and was making a provocative statement, and I disagree, everyone, with the statement he said. But he said, Steve, the L's don't like the G's don't like the B's don't like the T's. There is really not, and it raised this interesting question, which is, while there is a collective concern over civil rights, there sometimes has been a disregard and a diffidence between different communities. And I was fascinated that your parents just wanted you to be lesbian, or that other friends of yours within other communities wanted you not to be bisexual. And I just sort of think this may be a moment of introspection where we can all learn a little bit about accepting within our community who we are. Am I on the right track on that?
Well, here's what I would say. And just to clarify, one of my parents said it would be easier for us to understand if you were lesbian. And at that time, bisexuality was seen as a choice. I obviously disagree with that. It is who I am. And I think we have a better understanding of bisexuality and pansexuality today. In terms of the community, though, I have to tell you my experiences, both in working in the legislative arena in the state capitol, where back in 2005 and 2007, we were absolutely adamant that our legislation to prohibit discrimination should include the entire LGBTQI community, that we were not going to leave behind our trans brothers and sisters. So that is true there. And I have to tell you my experiences in terms of running for office. The Victory Fund embraced me and my sexual orientation. They were absolutely the reason why I won my first statewide Democratic primary. They came in early. They supported my candidacy. Chuck Wolf, who was president of Victory Fund at the time, said, if we support Kate Brown as Secretary of State, it could happen that when the governor resigned, she could become the first LGBTQ governor in the country. Ironically enough, that's exactly what happened. So my experiences have been positive. I see us working here as a community and working to protect our fellow brothers and sisters, and ensure that we can all achieve our full potential, that we can all thrive, that we can all have a sense of belonging and a strong sense of community.
I love that. I love Chuck Wolf, and I remember when he was leading the Victory Fund. And I'll tell our audience, you should go back. Victory Fund also did a lot with leaders not only supporting the United States. I remember moderating forums with really great, outstanding heroes from Brazil and Ecuador, Turkey, other places in the world that were fighting, putting their lives on the line to kind of create acceptance and to create inclusion in their countries and to kind of fight for political rights. It was really, really impressive what they've done, not only in the United States, but also globally. Let me just ask Governor as well. We now have a Governor, Jared Polis, who has succeeded, also come in after you. We have a Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg. Last evening, I got to meet one of my heroes, is Dr. Rachel Levine, who is the highest level transgender person in the Biden administration. She is Secretary of Health in the Department of Health and Human Services. She was an outstanding physician general and a Secretary of Health in the state of Pennsylvania. And so I'm just wondering, I know that these are still just a few sprouts, but do you think we're tilting the right direction? And do you think the entire country, as opposed just to the progressive wing, is acclimating to the reality that we are all here and we're going to be part of the equation?
Well, I can't say the entire country, but I can say certainly the majority at this point in time. What I can say about all of these role models is that it's so incredibly important for our young people to see the diversity of the LGBTQIA community in positions of power. You cannot be what you cannot see. And it's so important for young people to see heroes and role models. I remember when I was sworn in as the first openly bisexual governor in the state of Oregon, I remember getting a letter from a young person in Indiana. And by virtue of my presence, I am confident that that young person is still alive today. They wrote to me and said, "You are the reason I am still alive and willing to go on living." And I just think it's incredibly important for kids to see role models like Secretary Buttigieg, like Governor Jared Polis. It's just amazing. I also think it's really important for there to be a diversity of voices at the leadership table. That can be at the local level, at the city council or school board. It can be at the state level, statewide elected officials. It also needs to be absolutely at the national level. But when you have a diversity of voices, a diversity of perspectives at the leadership table, the decisions made are much more respectful. They are much more reflective of the community. And as a result, they are much more likely to be resilient for the long term.
Governor, real quick, I've got Casey Suffredini coming on in a moment of Freedom for All Americans, works a lot with businesses and works across the aisle. I'm just interested, as you kind of interact with your business leaders in the state, you talk about workplaces, you talk about what a healthy community is. Do they come to you for advice and counsel? Do you think they're moving in the right direction in Oregon?
Absolutely. Well, we've got some great companies, and they are absolutely committed to full equality for the entire LGBTQIA community. A great example of that is Nike. Their folks stood shoulder to shoulder with me and other legislators as we worked to pass the non-discrimination bill and our domestic partnership bill. And they believe very much in the importance of equality and justice for all of their employees and for their customers as well. And that partnership, these types of partnerships are crucial if we want to continue to move forward. It has to be, we have to see a public effort, but the public effort also is helped by the private sector as well.
Well, Governor Kate Brown, I really liked what Senator Sarah McBride from Delaware said a few minutes ago, where she said, we don't live single issue lives. This is one slice of it. There are lots of other issues that lay over. So this was wonderful with you, and I hope you will come back to talk about many of the other issues that you're dealing with. We'd love to have you back at the Hill. So Governor Kate Brown, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, and happy Pride.
Happy Pride.